Hello everybody, it's Max McAllister from Traction Dynamics. Back with going to be one of the most ridiculous videos I've ever done about a topic that's more complex than you would ever imagine needs to be, and that's actually just checking the oil on your 2018 Honda Goldwing. So checking the oil doesn't sound like it should be that complicated. You know, go to your car, you pull your dipstick out, read what it says, wipe it off, read what it says. Motorcycles for years, there's been sight glasses on the sides of them. For most, Goldwings have had a dipstick. Some have dipsticks you unscrew and check. But procedure's kind of generally typical amongst bikes. And that's, if you've been running the engine, you want to give the oil in the motor a chance to drain back to the sump in the bike. So if it's been running, most of them will say wait 5 or 10 minutes, but you can also just check your oil while the engine's basically cold, and that'll give you a kind of an idea. Generally, if you start the bike and run the bike, you'll see a little difference on the dipstick because oil might be up in the motor and still draining back. But generally, a warm engine will drain pretty quickly, and you can get a measurement. So the problem with the new Honda Goldwing, first of all, there's a couple of them that are just generally bad design and bad engineering to me. So if you were to read the instructions here, step one is if the engine's cold, idle the engine for 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to get to the biggest problem in a moment, but so they want you to run the motor to get the oil warm. That's okay. Turn the ignition switch off and wait 2 to 3 minutes. Doesn't seem unreasonable. Place your motorcycle in an upright position on a firm level surface. There's problem number one. So we're going to place our motorcycle in an upright position on a firm level surface. Okay, so let's talk about that. How am I supposed to do that? If I've got my Honda Goldwing, it's on the side stand. Dipstick's on the right hand side of the bike. So if I'm alone, how am I supposed to bring the bike to vertical, balance it, unscrew the dipstick, wipe the dipstick off, screw the dipstick back in, unscrew the dipstick, and take the reading while balancing the bike with one hand while I'm down on my knees? That seems difficult. It's not impossible, but it would be extremely difficult, particularly for the average owner of a Goldwing who's not used to balancing a 900-pound bike, with one hand. So that's a design flaw in my mind. The bike should be some simple fashion. On a bike this heavy, consumers aren't going to be, it's going to be difficult for them to create that level environment to measure the oil. Certainly if the bike's on the side stand, the reading is going to be completely wrong. But so let's say we're going to use our center stand to help us put it on a level surface. Okay, now my bike is vertical, but it's no longer level. Back wheel's in the air, nose is pointed down. Also, it's going to be a false reading. The manual specifically does not say put it on the center stand. You know why it doesn't say put it on the center stand? Because half of the Goldwings sold don't have a center stand. Because Honda didn't put a center stand on the standard model Goldwings, which is one of the most ridiculous, cheapest shortcuts I've ever seen Honda make on any motorcycle anywhere. Every one of these 900-pound bikes needs to have a center stand, whether it has a trunk on it or not. So anyway, there's two problems. One, obviously you can't measure it from the side stand. Two, it's also not level if it's on the center stand. So that means you need to have 2 people to check the oil, unless you're really talented and really comfortable with balancing a bike with one hand while you're on your knees on the right hand side of the bike, which I don't think anybody's going to be. So now you need 2 people to check the oil on the Goldwing. That's just stupid. Okay, let me say that again. That's just stupid. But here's where comes the interesting part. So on pretty much every engine in the world, the oil drains down to the sump, and the dipstick is in the sump of the engine, whatever kind of engine it is. And so when the engine is cold and has not run is when the oil will read the highest on the dipstick. Because at that point, if your bike is sat overnight, come on in here, the bike is sat overnight, all of the oil of the engine will have drained down to the sump. Now here's another nuisance with this bike that could be fixed by with the better knob. So it's hard to get your finger in here and turn the knob because this engine case is in the way to actually even unscrew the dipstick. It just gets worse as you bring it out. So this is terrible. This needs to be extended an inch, and it could still have the flats, or it could have a nice knob on it. But anyway, this is just sucks. This is like somebody did this and never tried to use it themselves, or maybe they have little tiny fingers, but normal man's fingers don't work here. All right, this bike has not been started today. So according by every other engine in the universe, when I pull this out, it's going to be slightly over full of oil, right? There is no oil in my engine, according to this dipstick. Now, this is where the problem has come in that Goldwing owners need to be aware of, okay? You have to follow this procedure that Honda's come up with, no matter how wacky the whole thing is. People are going to come to their bike, read that dipstick, say there's no oil in my bike. They're going to pour a quart of oil or more into it, quart and a half, to get it up to where the dipstick reads that there's oil in the engine. The problem is, once you follow Honda's procedure and start the engine, then it's going to be grossly overfilled with oil, which is bad for the engine and can do a bunch of damage. So unfortunately, Honda's put themselves in this bad position for this situation, because people are going to be screwing up their bikes. So that's why I'm kind of doing this video, to warn you about this, even though oil level isn't exactly fall into Traction Dynamics wheelhouse. So I'm just doing this one to help you out. So what Honda's done is, that's strange, they've picked a place to measure the oil in the motor where the oil is obviously collecting temporarily before it drains out back down into the sump. So if I screw this dipstick in and start the bike, you saw it had no oil according to the dipstick. And run the bike for a minute, we'll have a whole bunch of oil in my engine appear magically from out of nowhere. I actually haven't tried this part yet. Well, we did run it the other day and turn it off, and then it had oil in it magically. I'm just trying to condense this for the purpose of the video for you, so I've never actually tried it this fast. Obviously, the Honda procedure says they want you to wait 2 to 3 minutes before you do this. All right, let me see if any oil has appeared. All right, dipstick. No, it's actually still got to drain back by yet. So we gotta wait for the oil to drain by. So anyway, I'm not gonna do that on this video, but for time's sake. But just know that you have to follow their procedure. It's in the owner's manual. Sorry about the trucks. And run the bike till it's warmed up. Wait 2 to 3 minutes. Check the oil level, and that'll be your actual correct level. Don't try and do it any other way. And again, you're going to have to get a second person, technically, as far as I can tell, to balance the bike so that it is level before you check it around, before you check. So anyway, Max McAllister, just throwing you a tip to make sure you don't damage your bike. Thanks a lot. Don't forget to subscribe to my page, and I'll be bringing more videos to you soon.